Hey everybody, welcome back to the RGR Football Channel. My name is Daniel Harms, and today is roster cut down day. We finally got word of all of the roster moves the Chiefs have made today to get down to that 53-man roster. I think it's sitting at 52 right now, considering they're going to be moving, I believe, LDT to somebody to the injured reserve to start the season, which will make room for one player to excuse me come back to the roster. And that player is believed to be Marcus Kemp. So we're going to run down everybody that's been waived. Zane Anderson, DiCaprio Boodle, Shane Buechele, Marlon Character, Tyler Clark, Rodney Clemens, Amari Cobb, Austin Edwards, Maurice French, Derek Gore, Damon Harris, Devin Key, Bo Pete Keys, Wyatt Miller, Cornell Powell, RIP. I'm sorry, guys. I really thought he was going to make the roster. That's just an unfortunate spot for me. Hopefully, he makes the practice squad and stays on the Chiefs for a little while. And Dalton Schoen, Darius Shepard, Emmanuel Smith, Darwin Thompson, Prince Tega Winogo. I thought he was going to make the roster too. Tim Ward, another guy we thought we were going to make the roster, but here we are because there's just so much depth on the roster for the Chiefs at offensive line. They apparently felt the need to keep or to not really keep any other tackles on the roster. So it looks to me that Lucas Niang is the backup right or left tackle in event of injury to Orlando Brown. Him and Mike Remmers are your only other real tackles on the roster outside of Andrew Wiley, who, that's just neither here nor there. Darrell Williams was traded to the Patriots. Oh no, sorry. Yasser Durant was traded. Darrell Williams was released. My apologies. Garrett Dieter released. Marcus Kemp released, and that's believed to be coming back to the roster in way of moving LDT to injured reserve and bringing him back because he's a free agent, so they can just do that really quick. Non-injured reserve is Malik Herring, and Kyle Long is still on the physically unable to perform list. Like I said, yesterday Durant was traded to the Patriots. So that means that at linebacker, they have 6 linebackers on the roster right now. So let's go ahead and get to linebacker position. We got Bolton, they have Willie Gay, they have Darius Harris, who made the team, which is a little surprising to me. Anthony Hitchens, Ben Niemann, and Dorian O'Daniel. That has been what they have right now. I have to think that the injury to Willie Gay's toe, whatever it may be, probably turf toe, as it has been kind of reported, but no actual indication of that because Andy Reid just said it was a foot injury. But I will lean with turf toe to go with. So you have to think that plays into a little bit of what they're doing here at linebackers. 6 linebackers was not expected from me. I didn't think Dorian O'Daniel was going to make it. So that's right information for you right there. Austin Blythe, I thought, was on the outside looking in. He does make that roster. Really, at offensive line, there is not very many guys I thought was going to make the roster in terms of other people, specifically Prince was going to make this roster. So it's an interesting spot to be in. You have, Brown, Remmers, tackles, and then obviously the 4 tight ends that we had kind of grown accustomed to thinking were going to make the roster are here. Daurice Fountain makes it. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't believe that he deserves to be on the roster. Good for him for getting there and making it. I think Marcus Kemp and a draft pick does, but again, I'm not their player evaluating. I don't get to see every day. So I don't think he did enough to really warrant a roster spot, but that's just my own personal opinion. And good for him. Like I said, he's a bigger guy, 6'1", out of Northern Iowa, 210 pounds. He's probably going to be maybe see a few snaps here or there on the offense. I'm not sure he's actually going to do much this year, but I hope he gets on the field and proves to be worth the roster spot. That would be awesome. I would love to see a guy near the bottom there to really, really work out for the Chiefs at wide receiver because they have not really had somebody to be that 6th guy to come in and actually do anything. So yeah, good for him. I think Jody Fortson is going to give this team a lot of versatility with their 4 tight end sets. The 14 personnel, being able to line up with 4 tight ends and really being able to split all of them out is going to be an interesting dynamic to watch as the season goes along. Definitely something to watch out for. They're going to have packages for. And again, Armani Watts makes this roster. I tweeted a few days ago. I don't think he was ever gonna not make it anymore. They started releasing guys like Will Parks, and I'm like, maybe he's always supposed to be on the roster. So good for him. I think he played pretty well in the preseason and found a way to get himself on this roster. Definitely Dave Tobe had something to say about that because he's going to play a lot in special teams too. No surprises, Chad Henne and Patrick Mahomes are on this roster. But the real thing for me is that six linebackers that we talked about. Tim Ward not making this roster at defensive end was a bit surprising to me. I'm a little hesitant to understand why, but I think it's because they felt the need to have to keep six linebackers, so somebody wasn't going to make it at defensive end. And unfortunately, that was, that was Ward, which is it's a bummer. I think Ward played really well in the preseason, had earned a roster spot. Sometimes injuries change the way you have to at least start that roster. Maybe they make changes as guys get more healthy and things go down the line, but it's yes, daddy's working. I apologize. You're probably going to get some interruptions from my daughter because it's been a little bit of a crazy day. My wife's still TDY, and I can't just leave Avery downstairs and watching a movie. I have to really keep an eye on her. So she's watching a movie next to me as I work. So again, Kaindoh making it over Ward is a little indicative of what they think that he's gone through this whole preseason. Um, I do think that he's made some marked improvements in pass rush plan. He's always been a pretty good run defender, but adapting that pass rush plan to using multiple moves and getting to your counters off of offensive line movements and things like that is one to definitely watch. Um, I thought that the Chiefs had waived Chris Lammons. So was I wrong? He made the roster. Rodney Clemens is the one that was not. So yeah, they have Chris Lammons on here, which is that's interesting. Good for him. I thought he was already waived, to be honest with you, but no, he's here um, as part of a six-man cornerback room. Yeah, that's a little surprising to me too. I didn't think they were going to keep six corners, but maybe they're a little bit more worried about their depth than I thought they would be. So that's another kind of a surprise to me. So yeah, that's the roster rundown. Really, I mean, the moves to waive Cornell Powell, and like I said, that's just my own inclination of thought they were going to keep draft picks over a guy who I personally didn't think did enough to make it. But again, that maybe it's probably my own personal bias. That's on me to figure out and really evaluate for next time. But again, fifth round draft pick, not necessarily a huge guy. I thought he was going to be good. I thought he had more upside than Kemp and Fountain, but we'll see. If down the line, maybe he turns into something, maybe he turns into nothing. I definitely could be wrong about that. And I got no issues being wrong. As you all know, it happens so much that it's not even an issue to me anymore. So I just have to really accept that fact. But yeah, roster rundown. I think that this is this is a good team. Like I said, I'm hopeful that Fountain can prove me wrong. I would love to see that kind of stuff happen, but I'm not very confident that will. Um, Dorian O'Daniel still on this roster, which is surprising to me. Again, just the basic stuff. Like I said, I wished that Prince would have made it, but at the end of the day, apparently he wasn't good enough to play backup left tackle. But I not really comfortable myself with Andrew Wiley playing tackle or Remmers playing left tackle. So we'll see how that unfolds as the season goes. And again, this is probably going to change again before the regular season starts. There's going to be movement here up front with guys going to IR, maybe more injuries, maybe Willie Gay ends up being fine by week one and they release, a linebacker and sign somebody else. So that's always something to look out for. That these are just today's roster. I don't believe it's going to be the same, but I believe that wide receiver adding Marcus Kemp back to the roster after they've waived an offensive lineman is going to happen. So both Kemp and Fountain make this roster. And yeah, good for them. I hope that they can do something with the roster spots because they do need someone to step up at wide receiver. Someone's going to have to do it this year. And I hope it's one of the bottom end roster guys. That's always what I kind of hope for because they're always just kind of clinging on to rosters. And you really want to see somebody get that spot and then stick. So like I said, I'm hopeful of that, but I'm not confident it will happen. So hopefully you guys have been keeping up on this. Darius Harris, I hope, can make a splash at linebacker if Willie Gay is to miss any time. But this is the rundown really, and I'm hoping to see this roster change just a little bit before, like I said, but like I mentioned before the regular season. But yeah, this is what I've waited all day to figure out. So I'm hoping to not have to do too much tweaking to my my own roster itself. But yeah, lots of misses, and we'll learn for next time. So I hope you guys have a great day. I'm hoping to have film for you tomorrow. It really depends on if I'm getting this from the guy I'm getting it from. So pray for me on that, because it might not happen tonight. I'll have to figure something else for it. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. We're going to have more content for you as the season gets just around the corner. Ryan and I are working on something for the game plan for next week. Be sure to tune into that. Obviously Thursday with Seth and Ryan as well as the season comes around. You guys have a great day. Go Chiefs.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.